Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's a bot author recommended replay. So one of the programmers of these bots looked at this game and said, hey, that's pretty cool. And I think it's pretty likely we'll agree. So ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, click that like button, whatever you want to do. I don't set like goals as often as I used to, but if we can get, I don't know, let's go for 50 likes on this video. That would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches, as that helps us out with the YouTube bot, which is yet another bot. Subscribe if you haven't already, as we put up daily videos here on the channel, and then just join the Discord if you want to become part of the community. So let's see where this one is going here, as we've got Proxy Reapers being the tagged build from Phobos, which is very cool, as that's not something we see too often in the bot games. You may see it quite a bit on your ladder matches, but in bots, Proxy Reapers aren't that common in really any matchup, I don't think. So we'll see how well Caninana is going to handle this, as Phobos does go for this more aggressive opening. I'm 100% here for it. I love when bot authors put in the work to make little aggressive builds, that kind of thing, as just variety is the spice of life. So we'll see. And the beauty of these builds is that with the speed mining that these bots get, it's not as big of a delay on the natural base, as Phobos should be able to get a command center up still within reasonable time. It is bottlenecked a little bit by gas as it waits for that 50 gas. You always get bottlenecked by gas opening 2 Rax Reaper, just for a moment off the single gas. Now, the first Reaper of Phobos does come on in, as it throws down a nicely positioned grenade, sends some drones flying, denies some mining. And then we do have this Reaper moving to the low ground, going to maybe catch a drone here. There's a couple of exposed ones. Phobos does have quite good Reaper micro. It's quite good at keeping them alive. Maybe not quite as good as Micro Machine, but definitely still very formidable Reaper micro, as this one is just pathing on by, now microing against the Lings. The use of grenades is quite nice from Phobos. And these Reapers are going to pick off a couple of Lings. And yeah, let's see here, as the Reapers do pursue that single Ling, and they get it. Now, there is a transition from Phobos quite quickly as it goes into producing Marines. But yeah, nice little opening. 5 Lings is not bad. It almost got a drone, just not quite. The Reaper pathing is moving back and forth, and yeah, let's see here, as these Reapers are still moving around. Looks like it doesn't get out of there, unfortunately. The Reaper needed to stop shooting there and just run in order to escape in that situation, I think. So unfortunate that it does lose one. But still, sometimes the damage in these early aggressive builds is not from the actual damage itself. Caninana was slowed down quite a bit. It invested in an incredibly early Roach Warren. It invested in 3 Roaches, a decent number of Lings, and that's a big investment for defense. Now, somehow the Zerg bot still was able to squeeze out a 3rd base. One thing I will say for Caninana that is a little painful right now is that it is floating a lot of gas. It maybe could be producing a few more drones or something if it could convert this gas into minerals. However, Caninana does go late game quite often, so it will probably be able to spend that gas in the future. And then we do get a mule on the way for Phobos. Tank sieged up on the high ground. Starport on the way, as it goes 2-1-1, I guess. Definitely not an actual like 2-1-1 stim timing, but 2 racks, 1 factory, 1 starport is the production Phobos is working with. This 1 racks is still across the map, just spitting out the odd Marine here and there. As another scouting Ling of Caninana does fall. There is high potential here, I think, for Phobos to potentially move out and get some damage done, as that's something Phobos does very well, is go for these early to mid-game pushes with the tanks, and it's got 2 tanks out, 15 Marines. The Raven really is the icing on the cake for a potential push. For now, though, there is just a factory on the way, and then we do get Tunneling Claws coming out as well. Pneumatized Carapace is on the way for Caninana, so it's going to be looking to use those Overseers that it does very well with in order to get lots of information on its opponent. Bots can micro certain units to maximum efficiency. Overseers are high HP, high mobility, and so they are very, very good at scouting when in the hands of Caninana, at least. Caninana is one of the bots that makes use of them really better than most other bots out there, I'd say, as they're just constantly lurking. At the same time, those Overseers are not necessarily free, so I'm curious how many Caninana will build. For now, Phobos is moving out for that big scary push. It's even bringing the Reapers in with this. The Ravens are now coming to the front lines, going to just drop some auto turrets right out the gate. Maybe a little bit mistimed there, as they did just get gunned down. Now the Lings are baited forward. We see a nice Reaper grenade in the middle of that. The Lings do get taken out. However, the Roaches are able to clean up the siege tanks, and so the main threat of this push was eliminated. 51 Lings have died this game, which is quite a number, but the fact that the tanks died really did neuter this push. There is another one coming forward. If a tank can be sieged up on the front lines, there is a chance. Now, Marines still being produced from that proxy racks, joining in with the push. Can the tank maybe get sieged into a critical position? The Ravens are very key for Phobos for revealing these Roaches. Now, the Zerg is, well, getting some auto turrets thrown down at it. These auto turrets were nice and preemptive, so they're already firing when the Zerg army moves forward, but very good engagement from Caninana. Once again, the Lings just doing a great job buffering while the Roaches move forward, and they are indeed able to break this line. Individual Marines are going down. They don't stand a chance against Roaches. Phobos also burned 2 scan theirs, which is definitely 2 scans there, which is definitely not cheap. And that is still considering the fact that it has 3 Ravens out. We do get Ravens dropping more auto turrets. The tank is going to try and siege up. Some Lings are on top of it. Vikings not being helpful at all here, as Phobos has produced quite a few. 3 Vikings in total in the sky, but they'd probably be better off landed here or making medivacs instead. That's something you more so want, like TVT, TVP, maybe? Not so much in TVZ, as Zerg tends not to get those mid-game air units as often. Now, Phobos is still continuing to try this push, throwing down the auto turrets once again, 3 of them in total, helping pick off some more of these Lings, but we are seeing there's a high number of Lings from Caninana. Caninana has just really been cutting its workers in this game. It's only on 41 drones, just spitting out units as long as it can, as many as it can, and it's been able to hold on miraculously almost. Phobos behind this is doing good in the economy. It's got a 3rd base up, 4th base about to finish up. So it will be a 4-base Terran to a 3-base Zerg, 66 SCVs. So there is high potential, I think, for Phobos to get some damage. Those Vikings will now have purpose, as there is Corruptors out to fight them. This Viking is just an absolute Chad and is like, hey, fight me, Corruptor, and just doesn't micro at all. And hey, why not, I guess, as Phobos is kind of regrouping up, it seems, maybe for another round of this push. We are getting that planetary at the 4th. 5 tech labs going up, maybe for mass Marauder transition here, potentially, for Phobos. That definitely is an option. We're getting Stim, +1 is also just about done. We do have a Neural Parasite stealing one of Phobos' Vikings. That gets killed instantaneously in friendly fire. Some Roaches are coming down the ramp this time, however. I'm not sure there's actually enough Zerg in order to clean up this Terran push this time, so Phobos does have some more success with that. A lot of the Zerg army was off to the right side, as the creep continues to spread throughout this game, but the Ravens are worth their weight in gold. There's 4 of them out now, which is really quite nice. And I gotta say, this game for Phobos is looking a lot better than the one that I previously cast, where it seemingly bugged out with a limited number of production. This game, I think it's definitely got more production up. So things seem to be functioning as intended in this game. Now, Phobos does get a few more tanks cleared up as it looks to move out onto creep here. But so far, the Red Terran bot has been trading out at quite an extreme rate, so its overall supply isn't that high. It's got very good production at this point, getting a 5th base on the way. Caninana, meanwhile, is just establishing its 4th base, only on 50 drones, 52 drones in total, as the Red Terran is moving out once again. More than enough Vikings in the sky to handle the few Corruptors. And then we do have tanks, Marauders, Ravens moving forward. Cleaning up the creep is really nice for Phobos. Caninana does spill forward now. The Red Terran does have a lot of reinforcements coming on in here. Quite a few Marauders are going down on the creep, though. So far, Phobos is unsuccessful in trying to break its opponent. The Corruptors do get pushed back right away. The Terran Bio, meanwhile, is kiting against the +1 Lings of Caninana and doing all right. Now we are getting Medivacs, which is really going to bolster the bio of Phobos. We do hear assimilation successful. I assume that was a kidnapped Viking, perhaps. And then we do have Phobos not just getting up that 5th, getting up a 6th, Caninana getting up its own 5th. So these bots are expanding quite a bit. Caninana has hit 64 drones, which is quite a safe number here. Now, let's see here, as we do have Vikings kiting on back. Bio for Phobos is a little unsure, it seems, of what way to go. Maybe distraction by all the creep. The Overseers constantly having their eye on their opponent. Caninana has got 5 of these Overseers, and they are all just flying around constantly, controlled by that bot APM, able to provide lots of vision for the Zerg. Now, the Zerg does spill forward, looking to pick off the siege tanks once again, and it does actually succeed, as the bio of Phobos is rather overstimmed presently, as these Marauders are just kiting back, separated on creep, not doing that well for themselves against the Lings. And so Caninana's trades have been quite good this game. Nothing spectacular, as it has been fighting, definitely with fewer units than its opponent, but still quite good, all things considered, having a lead of 3,000 resources lost compared to its opponent. And then lots of queens on the ground. We're getting out Swarm Host, more Infestors being produced. Phobos is yet to break Caninana. It's got a phenomenal economy. Unfortunately, we do have bugged out SCV mining here on Pylon. Now there is Marines kiting back against the bio, or the Zerg of Caninana, moving out. I guess Zerg is technically all bio. There isn't a non-biological Zerg unit, but who knows, maybe in Starcraft 3 we do get good economy for Caninana, as it does have that 5th base mining, getting up the 6th base now. And then Phobos is just trying to hold the line, but it's been unable to really get that foothold on its opponent's neck, where you siege up like 4 or 5 tanks near your opponent's base and just pick everything off. Now, this is a good tank count that it's getting now. Caninana, meanwhile, is producing lots of Lings, though, getting out +2, +1 on the way, adrenal glands. And then these Marines are doing quite well against the Locust here. Tanks are sieging up. Bio is kiting back for Phobos. There isn't that many Medivacs to heal up this bio, but still, the control is quite good as it keeps all these units grouped up. The Vikings counter anything in the skies. The tanks are inching forward. Maybe Phobos will be able to get towards this 4th base of Caninana. We're even getting Banshees added into the mix, which is definitely an interesting pivot with Hyperflight Rotors on the way. We're getting upgrades still rolling for both these sides. Caninana's upgrades are looking quite good, though, with 2-2 on the way. Adrenal Glands is really nice for the Lings, as it's building like 36 at a time. I'm not even sure how Caninana is able to afford that. That is quite a few Lings it is spitting on out. But with the adrenal glands, maybe there's a chance Caninana can hold out here. Vikings for Phobos are helping out against the Locust, which is definitely a little bit interesting here. The 5th, 6th base of Caninana is in a little bit of trouble, though, but once again, the Zerg is going to spill forward to try and slap down this Terran attack. The Lings are really thinning out here. They do pick off, like, a tank, but Phobos does manage to push on. Looks like there might have been a Banshee harassing down on that side. Overseer's still flying around, kind of distracting some of these Vikings. Raven does get grabbed by an Infestor, which is a little ironic. The Zerg is getting close to 2-2, which is very important. A nice fungal growth, hit a good chunk of that bio. More Lings are moving forward, almost getting that one tank. And then there's a wave of Locust landing. They may be able to help, maybe pick off a tank. One of them goes down. Will the second one? Yes, it does. Caninana is somehow staying alive in this game, just playing a phenomenal match. Phobos has done a good job producing lots of units and just keeping the pressure on. Still, it's unable to break its opponent, but it doesn't necessarily have to right this instant, as it does have a very high base count. Now, Caninana, it's doing a good job spreading creep everywhere that Phobos' army is not. Fungal growth's going down, catching Marines. We're even getting Broodlords added into the mix. Now, Broodlords have been very good for Caninana lately, but Phobos does already have quite the answer to that in all of these Vikings. Now, the Zerg moves forward since the Terran stepped on creep. That's quite a good engagement for Caninana, clearing out a lot of the mass of Phobos. Phobos is just reinforcing, though, bringing in more tanks. The Vikings are coming to the front. There's that Broodlord to help out. We'll see if it can get work done or if the Vikings just dispatch it right away. Queens slow walking off of creep to fight this bio. More Queens from the high ground joining the battle, with the Broodlord raining down as well. And Caninana has just been around like the same supply mark this entire game, somehow still fighting, still battling its opponent. That's not necessarily enough for the Zerg, as it does want to kill some of Phobos' bases, but as I say that, I do look and I see these bots are on an even number of bases. They're on an eerily close amount of resources lost, just 1,500 between them, so that gap has actually gotten worse for Caninana, as Phobos has had pretty good army positioning, just doing a good job absorbing these Lings. Now, the Lings will become more and more scary once they hit 3-3. They are no joke. But, I mean, Caninana, it's doing a good job. It's staying alive. It's singing the Staying Alive song. And then we have more Lings being produced. How many Lings have died this game for Caninana? I do not know. It is just about 700, though, which really is a big chunk of Caninana's losses. Lings are moving forward. Once again, going to try their luck, but it's not enough. I've really got to give it to Caninana. It's taking fights sometimes that aren't optimal, but it seems to never be leaving totally empty-handed. The Zerg bot is at that 177 supply. How many Infestors does it have? Just 2 Infestors out right now. I think we do need to see a big fungal or something so it can potentially push this Terran army back, as Phobos has just been retreating non-stop, absorbing those Lings, and it's never really backed off past the midway point, which just goes to show how well it's been consistently pushing in this match. Both these bots have got their share of bases. Each one has literally their half of the map, and we'll see. It's going to come down to the trades. There is a scan going down, auto turrets going down. Just a beautiful position, though, for Phobos remains. We are getting Locusts trying their luck, but the Marines absorb them. Is there a fungal to soften up these Marines? They're all very exposed. Infestors are moving forward. Do we get a fungal? The answer is no, not yet. Hydras coming in to help out. Queens are buffering, throwing everything at the Terran army, but without a fungal, it's a little bit difficult. We do finally get one, softening up so much of this bio. There's the follow-up. That's gonna kill, I don't know, that must have been like 12, 15-ish Marines or something like that. Maybe Caninana can break this, as it does come from the side as well with a bunch more Lings. But still, the Zerg has been unable to break Phobos. That was quite a good trade, though, as Phobos is no longer at max supply. It's got a pretty good bank, but here we see Locust now starting to land, picking off some of the remaining tanks. There's still 3 tanks, still lots of reinforcements coming for the Terran. Vikings in the skies, Ravens in the skies, but I think that may be the most definitive shutdown that Caninana has had this game. And I know that last game I cast to Phobos, it wasn't too pretty in regards to the production, but we're kind of having that again here in the sense that Phobos has got a big bank, but it's not maxed out, and it's going to take way too long to max out since it doesn't have enough production here. We really do seem to be seeing a different iteration of Phobos from the one that would build like 20 racks and just go absolutely ham. Now, we do have SCVs still bugging out at this refinery, which is a big, big problem for the Terran. I mean, okay, it's a problem. It's not a huge problem because Phobos isn't locked on gas right now, but it's still not great. And we'll see how long that's going to go. It could potentially be very problematic for the Terran. We have the Terran stepping onto creep once again, bio-kiting back. Roaches for Caninana still trade very darn well, though, in smaller numbers of units, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now, as Phobos now is pushed all the way home, maybe going to be on the defensive a little bit. SCVs transferring around. We do have the Terran still mining at this base, but oh, it's not just the minerals, it seems, or the gas, it seems. It's the minerals bugging out too a little bit. I wonder if that's because of the burrowed drones or something of Caninana. I do not know, but we'll see if Phobos can really start to mine from this location or not. It looks like it has grabbed a few minerals, but not too many, as it does struggle to have the speed mining. Maybe it's the base layout. Every mineral nodes are different on a lot of maps in Starcraft 2. I realized that when I was trying to go for my own speed mining implementation. Caninana is now trying to mine from that base of Phobos, which may be an indication that bases are starting to mine out in this game. The Terran is close to max out again. It's burned through a lot of its bank. Caninana, meanwhile, is now just hitting max, really for the first time in this game. The bio ball for the Terran is still quite formidable, but maybe not enough medivacs to heal up all these precious Marauders. No +2 armor as well for these Marauders, so they're not quite as tough as they could be. And Caninana is pushing forward once again. This base is still not quite mining as well as it should do. Okay, the SCVs are mining. Still, the gas is struggling. We do have roaches on the outskirts poking and prodding, as Caninana is now the aggressor in this game, and we'll see if Phobos can maybe hold on, maybe make good use of the defender's advantage. Resources lost is still so close in this game that it really could go either way, as we even have Banshees harassing for Phobos with that Banshee speed. It has killed 37 drones in total this game. We do have SCVs repairing up these important mech units. Broodlords causing problems. Scan going down as the Terran does move forward. Lots of Ravens present, but Caninana does seem to be getting off some very, very nice pickoffs here. Roaches causing problems. The tanks are sieged up. That's important. They need to be shooting away, and they are doing that now. Roaches are trying to close in on top of them. Not enough auto turrets to help defend, and the bio just isn't trading out that well. We're also seeing Phobos losing a lot of SCVs here in this game. More neural parasites going down for Caninana, and the red Terran is just starting to fall in supply a little bit here. It seems it hasn't produced anything but SCVs for a hot minute now, and that is quite problematic, as it does need to get out some more supply there. And yeah, we're just seeing 6 SCVs at a time. It did actually lose this planetary, pardon my observing for not catching that, and that is a very, very bad sign for Phobos. Maybe it can hold on or something like that, retake the base in a dream, or just hunker down and trade out better, but things are not looking too good. I've always been upfront in my commentary about that, and we are not necessarily seeing a lot of shining lights here for Phobos. The Ravens are using auto turrets, trying to do some shenanigans, but Caninana is now even taking this base, already getting a Spore Crawler there. There's this one Broodlord with 10 kills on it. The planetary is being hit, but again, we're seeing, this is something we see in a lot of bots here. That's quite problematic. I don't know, SCVs being pulled away from one important location just to potentially be resent back over there later on. Like SCV, this base is completely not mining because SCVs have been pulled off to repair other structures, which it's very difficult to program, I imagine, but it's definitely not optimal. Where are these guys going? That is not the spot, guys. You could go somewhere far better than this. Anyway, yeah, I do believe Caninana has been able to take this one. Very well done by the bot author of Caninana. Phobos showing us a very good game. A little bit of a bug with the mining at this location, but Yeah, really, really great match between these two. Impressive trades. Phobos was definitely very close to killing Caninana for a while, but not quite able to. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one and you haven't already, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches, and then subscribe if you haven't already. Neural Parasite's still going. Caninana even landing the Vikings. Very cool. GG.